Today I'm going to be showing you guys how I'm cinching in the waist of my shorts to make them fit perfectly. And I'm going to be also using the DIY ceramic tape method on a couple decor items. So let's get thrifty. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am very excited to finally be getting to this video today. I'm going to be making these jean shorts fit me in the waist because these ones are really large. My other pair aren't as bad, but they're definitely nowhere near fitting me. I'm not sure what size they are. Yeah, they're 30s and I'm normally like a 26, so they're pretty big. A lot of kids pants, I don't know if you remember when you were a kid, but you had the little elastic in the waist with the button, and it was genius. And I don't know why they don't do that in adult pants, because personally I think it's the best invention because nobody's waist is the same size. I saw this hack on Pinterest and I thought it was genius. So there's a couple ways you can go about doing it, and I'll kind of explain that as I go. I did this last night just to try it out, make sure everything worked before I ruined a pair of shorts on camera. The first thing we're gonna do is just make a cut along here. So very important tip though, you're gonna wanna pull apart the pants right here because there are 2 layers of the jean and you do not want to cut through the front part or else you're gonna have a hole in the front of your jeans. So make sure you pinch them on the sides so you make sure you're only cutting through the back part of your jeans. And you just kind of make a slit like that. And I got this elastic from Walmart. Actually, everything's from Walmart that I have, but I'll link everything below so you guys can see what I got. But I just got this elastic. It's kind of on the thicker side. I don't think I needed as thick as I got it, but that's okay. Just make sure that your hole in your jeans is big enough for your elastic. Obviously mine is not. So I'm going to go in and make that cut a little bit larger so that the elastic can fit through the jeans. And you're gonna wanna do this on the other side as well. Okay, so this next part is fairly important because it's very hard to feed this elastic through unless you have something to kind of grip onto. So I'm gonna take this large safety pin, and put it a little bit farther down than the top, just in case your elastic is not as strong, because you are going to be pulling it through, so you don't want it to rip and then get something stuck in the middle of your jeans. So it's as easy as that, and you're just going to start feeding it through. I personally love doing these kinds of things, like when sweatshirt strings come off my hoodies in the wash, putting them back through. I don't know why, but I just kind of really enjoy that. So I'm just gonna feed this through. Something I will mention, because I just ran into this, and this happened on my first pair of shorts last night, is with some pairs of jeans and shorts, this is the downfall of doing it with these ones. With shorts like Levi's, they do have this patch right here, and it is sewn on all 4 sides. You are going to have to cut it, but they're very easy to patch back on if you know how to sew. It's easy enough just to re-sew on. So okay, so then when it pokes through, you can kind of pull the rest through. This is why it's important to put that safety pin a little bit farther down the elastic so that it doesn't snap, because you are pulling it through quite a bit. Okay, so now that we have this all fed through, this is where you have options. So if you don't know how to sew, then there is an option for you. If you do know how to sew, there's an option for you. If you're really good at simple sewing, there's an option for you too. So last night I did these shorts actually. I did 2 methods. One method is just sewing the elastic, as you can see right here, onto the pant, and you can't see it on the other side. That was fairly easy, but on the other side I actually did the button method like our kid pants had. I'm not an expert sewer. I can sew on buttons, I can patch things, I can do that kind of stuff easy. The hard thing was only being able to go through one side of the material with the button. That was a little bit more challenging. So I did the button on one side, and then I just decided to just use this side to pull the elastic through if I wanted it thicker or whatever. and both work fine. That's both the sewing options. I would say this is a little bit more expert sewers, medium sewers, and here's the super simple, don't know how to sew, don't need to sew method. I seen this when I was doing a little bit of research just on what people were doing. Some people just left it like this and cut the elastic to where they wanted it and safety pinned it through here like that. You obviously would cut this so that it was pulling it tight, and you could just move this around as you needed. That's a simple no-sew option. I would be lying if it didn't scare me a little bit that this would come, depending on how big your pants are and how much that elastic's tugging, it would make me a little bit nervous that this was gonna like come off and poke me, but that's a super, super simple way to do this method if you don't wanna sew. I am gonna do a little bit of sewing. I'm going to do what I did last night, just sew one button and sew the other end so that you guys can see both those methods in play. And I'm going to actually do this to my other pair of shorts as well, but I'm gonna do that off camera so I don't bore you guys, but I will show you with this pair what I will also do with the other pair. So now I've threaded my needle. I'm going to cut this one a little bit shorter so that it doesn't quite reach this. And I'm just going to now sew this as much as I can into this first layer of material. Okay, so that's how it ended up being on that side. Okay, so I just tried them on and I made a blue tick right here. Now I'm gonna do a button, and I actually already opened one of these sets of 4. And again, you could do 2 buttons if you wanted. I just did the 1, and the 1 works as well. So now I'm just gonna sew this button right here. And then when I'm done sewing it, I will pull this, make a cut so that I can put the button through. Okay, so the button is all sewed down and sturdy enough. So now I'm gonna just make that cut on that blue line. And the last step is to make as many as you want, but to make a little hole in the elastic so that the button can go through. And on children's pants, they actually have a couple of these hole things, and so you can, you know, keep doing it. You could always do that as well. You know, after you like have your Thanksgiving dinner or something, you can just loosen it up a little bit. But I'm just gonna make one for now, and if I need to later on, I can make more. But it's as simple as that. And if you wanted to repeat this step for both sides, that is also something you could do. So it is the next day, and I just wanted to show you guys how both the shorts fit now that I've cinched in the waist. I love how they look now. They just hug me perfectly in the waist, and I don't know what else you could want more in jeans and shorts. And so I'm very happy with how it all turned out. I think they both just look so cute and so nice on now. I'm definitely gonna be doing this to more pairs of my jeans, because if you're like me and you feel like no pants ever fit you perfectly in the waist, this is just a lifesaver hack. And I just wanted to clarify one thing, because I didn't make it clear in the video. You do not have to take off the entire patch in order to feed the elastic through. You just have to cut the seams off the patch so that you can fit it through the belt loop part, if that makes sense. So just to clarify, right here is the only place I had to cut the seams. I kept the seams up here, kept the seams down here, and then now there's just like a hole. But I didn't have to take off the whole patch. Don't fear, just cut it enough that you can feed your elastic through and you can keep the rest. All in all, very happy with how these turned out. Definitely recommend using this method at home. It's very simple yet very useful. So last but certainly not least, I'm very excited for this one, but also a tad bit nervous because I have never done this before. I saw this video on Pinterest though, so long ago, and I'm just now trying it. So I might be a little bit late to the game, but I'm very excited. It's the baking soda method. Quick disclaimer real quick, because while I was editing this YouTube video, I figured out I was not supposed to be using baking soda. I was supposed to be using baking powder. It turned out great. It turned out very, very similar. So if you're gonna try this, maybe try it with baking powder because that is actually what you're supposed to be using. I'm using baking soda, so I'm gonna keep saying baking soda method, and I'm gonna use baking soda. It turned out great anyways. So people at home, if you're gonna try this method, use baking powder. Baking powder, okay? Baking powder. So you put a little bit of acrylic paint and baking soda together, and it gives it kind of this like vintage look. So I'm very excited to try this. I have 4 items right here that I'm gonna try it on. And I'm gonna actually start with this big guy right here first. I really, really loved this. And when I got it, I was like, this is so cute and would look perfect in my house. But actually I've never used it as decor because of the color. Actually, it's just a little bit too, I don't know what it is about it, but it just never looks quite right with my decor. So I'm very excited to try this out on this one. So I just grabbed some like printer paper that we had left over, and I'm going to start. I'm gonna pour some paint in the bottom of this. This color is peach. And then they said to do 1 teaspoon of baking soda. So that's a half. That's 1. I added a lot more baking soda, so hopefully I didn't just ruin it. Okay, I say we just try starting and painting it. This is a new sweater, so I swear if I get paint all over and ruin it, I'd be so mad. I mean, it definitely does give off like a chalkier consistency than like normal, probably acrylic paint would. I'm definitely gonna have to do 2 coats on this one since it's so dark to begin with. Painting's so therapeutic. So I zoomed in on this pot because that angle just was not actually showing you anything. I'm done for now. I definitely am gonna need to do a 2nd coat on this pot. It's just because it was so dark underneath. But I feel like it turned out good. Like, it definitely has that chalky look that I was wanting. Oh my gosh. This painting method turned out perfectly. I'm so happy with how everything looked. This is the first pot that I painted. It turned out so pretty, especially since I didn't use the right baking powder. I used baking soda. It still looks really nice. I still got my desired look from it. It still has that ceramic vintage, like rustic look to it. I had to do 3 coats of paint on this just because it was so dark to begin with and I was painting it a much lighter color, but it was very easy to do. So next I'm going to paint these candlestick things. I think they're so adorable, but the polka dots, I just never knew about them. Got them from the thrift store. Actually, all this stuff is from the thrift store. I don't know if I already said that. It's not new stuff that I have, but I thought it'd be kind of fun to kind of just zhuzh it up a little bit because I have never used these candlesticks, and I think it's probably because of their polka dots. So now I'm going to paint these ones, but it's like the exact same color, which is so nice. So I'm really just painting the polka dots to cover them up. Hey, that's kind of nice. I am loving this baking soda paint stuff. Like, it makes them just look so like vintage. Sick. And I like this method because you don't have to be super like careful and perfect, you know? Okay, this one's done. Now I'm gonna do this brother one or sister one. Oh my gosh, I love how these turned out. They are so cute and they're gonna look so good when they dry. I'm obsessed with this method. The next item I painted is these 2 candlesticks, and I really love them now. I do want to say something real quick though about these. I am not somebody that has a lot of patience when it comes to crafts. I love doing crafts. I think it's so fun, so relaxing, but I do not take as much time and care as some other people might. I just kind of like, you know, slop some paint on. And I would definitely recommend not doing that with this method. I think it's definitely better to do 1 coat that's very thin and then do another coat to get the rest of like the polka dots off or the color. That works so much better. And These ones turned out good still, don't get me wrong, but there's definitely like places where you can see there's just too much paint. And yeah, so I definitely recommend just doing a couple coats, not just the one coat, and just building it up over the layers. I think that works much better. I did that with all the other items, and they're a little bit odd shape, so paint just kind of dripped down weird. Anyways, I still love them. I'm definitely going to be decorating with them, so it didn't like ruin them or anything, but I just wanted to give you a heads up on that. Last but not least, I'm gonna do this vase right here, and I already mixed up my paint and baking soda, so I'm just gonna paint away. And this one should be pretty easy, I think, because it's already white, so I won't have to be like covering anything up, which is nice. It definitely doesn't like when you go and paint over a spot again. It definitely does pull up the paint. Okay, so this is it, all completed, super easy. Oh my gosh, this item turned out super cute. It doesn't really look super different than it did before because it was like a white vase anyways, but I definitely think that this aesthetic matches my house a little bit more, so I really liked how this one turned out. I am so pleased with how everything turned out in this DIY. It was so much fun, and it definitely inspired me to maybe look into more DIYs I can do in the future. I hope you guys liked this nifty thrifty DIY episode. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. It supports my channel and lets me know that you guys like these kinds of videos. Subscribe to my channel because I do upload videos every single week, and hit the bell so you get notified every single time I post, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!